Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Broken Knock Podcast. I am one of your hosts here, Chris DePerna, alongside of Mr. Ken Reese. How you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Feeling a lot better now that I'm not laid up in the hospital
Oh,
like
I
I
know.
was. July was a rough month.
Yeah,
but,
it was. Yep.
Getting back at it and feeling good. So happy to be here. It's been a while since we've been able to sit down and do a podcast. So
Yep.
wanted to get back at it for our viewers and listeners. Appreciate everyone out there that does follow along. Unfortunately, we don't have Megan with us tonight, my daughter. She's
Under the
feeling
weather.
a little under the weather,
Yep.
so she made us do a podcast without her. She's
Yeah.
like, you guys got to do it. Our guest was on a tight schedule, so we had to get him in here, and we needed to get some content back out there for you guys. So we're going to get this one going here tonight. But, happy to be back. Bow season's coming, so, shop's been crazy busy. Lots of people coming in every day, getting ready to go. A lot of guys going on their elk hunts, so we've been setting a lot of people up for that. And tons of strings and cables being done on the bows and crossbows. And so, you can feel it in the air, the cold air out there and everything. It's coming. I mean, I think everybody's ready, Everybody's getting ready. So
The mornings are getting cooler. We were talking about that
Yeah,
earlier.
so-
It's cool in the mornings, but it still gets up to 80, 88 degrees
it's
midday, and you're back down to it. But
but we all know it's going to get warm again. It's going to get hot, just like it does to us every year. But it's nice to have those cool mornings to feel like, fall's coming. So,
Right.
But anyhow, we're going to get going because we want to talk about one of our sponsors that we have here with us today and his products. Going into hunting season, this is the time of year where his products really start to shine, really start to take off, and at Creek Archery, I mean, they're number one. I can't say enough good about the products that this guy puts out. I mean, it's just fantastic stuff. And those of you that come into our shop or online have purchased it, I don't think there's anyone out there that can argue whether or not it works.
No.
I actually, in my shop with the certain products we're going to talk about here, I give people 110% guarantee. I tell them it is going to work. Listen, I'm telling you, if it doesn't, bring it back. But it's going to work. And every single one of those guys, I tell them, you either bring me back the product or send me pictures or videos. And guess what I get? Pictures and videos.
Yep.
I get guys that are getting deer turning up on their properties they didn't even know they had. That's how well it works. So, with that said, our guest that we have here today, Mr. Dave Bierer. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing good. I
man.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
glad.
we're happy to have you here, buddy.
We just brought a big shipment in today, so
Yeah.
you guys are loaded up.
Yeah, we needed it because we're blowing through stuff already. But for those of you that don't know Dave is the owner of Apparition Deer Scents. Dave makes, there's a plethora of different things here that you can get from him. Things, all the ways from, before the start of deer season, to all the ways up through and into the rut and into late season and, cover scents and everything. You got a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, I mean we're one-stop shop, and you guys carry everything, the whole line down here at Creek Archery. And appreciate your support over all these years, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing every year.
Yeah, when I took over in 2016, and I still remember you and I having the conversation, because when I took over from the previous owner, he had some Apparition scent in here, and then he also carried another brand, a frozen scent that he had. And he had followers for both. And then when I came in and took over, I kind of had this, I was back and forth like, okay, I want to go one direction. And to me, scent isn't like a bow or a crossbow. There's a lot of different models out there when you're talking about that stuff, and there's a lot of things that work well. Now, granted, there are a lot of scents out there that I'm sure that work well, but I'm the type of person that if there's one that performs and somebody says, well, what do you use? I don't want to have 3 or 4 different brands on the shelf. That's just me. I want the one that's going to perform the best. So back then, with doing a little bit of testing and that, not knowing Dave yet and, giving the other brands a fair shake, we looked at some things, and we honestly had the best results with Apparition Scents. It was hands down the best products that we had ever, put out there and attempted to use, and just the results were phenomenal. It really was.
Well, I appreciate that.
So for us, I've said this many times. I've had, is from 2016 up till now, I've had other companies reach out to me about wanting us to sell other brands of scents, and I won't say that they don't work, but what I will say is I'm 100% positive that Apparition works. And when somebody asks me what do I suggest, that's it. That's what it's going to be. So.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely appreciate that again, and we've worked and worked and worked on making it better. Developing even further. I add a couple different things, like this year for the nosy, for example. I've changed the formula a little bit, so it's a new and improved nosy way, Tim.
Right.
And that's an early season. The way you got to be able to be. For me, I want it to be more realistic than absolutely anything out there.
Right.
And that's how I go about it. You know what I mean? I've been in deer hunting, just like we were talking a little bit earlier, since 1987.
Yeah.
I turned 12 years old. I mean it. And
yeah, you've been at it for a while. And you
for
want
a
things
while,
to be
yeah,
natural,
I want it
man.
to be perfect. And, deer hunting's not perfect.
No.
I mean, any little thing could go wrong. But I think if, like we'll get into later, how to set it up and make it to where that deer is hunting you. He wants to be in your area. He wants to be, and you set yourself up for your ultimate shot where you want him. You make him come and step where you want to shoot him.
Right.
And these products help you do that.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And that's what I definitely want to go over, these different products for those out there that have maybe not used it yet. This is the first time they're hearing about it. We want them to know what it's all about. But before we get into the products, let's kind of get into you a little bit. Like, you said you've been hunting for quite a few years. So what got you into hunting? Like, what's your let's go back to the beginning for you. What started it all?
I mean, I just remember sitting there as a kid and my dad going to deer camp up with one of his Army buddies to up Potter County or Ridgeway, that up north, because that's
Right.
what everybody did back
Right.
then. And then, we weren't, you had to be 12.
Yeah.
There was none of this mentored you stuff or any of that. You had to be 12 years old, So, my best friend and neighbor across the road, his dad was just ate up with it. I mean, he's probably the best hunter. Actually, he is the best hunter that I know. And he'd take us and teach us stuff. And so, wanting to, experience, because we always would give my dad a hard time when he come home, because they didn't do I think they did a lot more having fun at deer camp than
A lot of boozing.
than actual deer hunting.
Right.
But like Rich he just killed one every year. I mean, he did. And there wasn't as many deer as there was then. And we were like, he pretty much got us fired up into it. And our dad went too. I mean, heck, my grandpap was a huge hunter. So it was always in our lineage and always my Uncle Dick went with us and took us when we were kids. And so I was fortunate. I had all three of those guys that, wanted to take us out. I mean,
Right.
fishing and hunting and all that. And then I got ate up with it. And like Rich was into the turkey calls, he was one of the first guys that made turkey calls and stuff. And he'd take us around when we were kids to these calling contests and kids contests. So I've had a turkey call in my mouth since I was 8 years old. And I just love it. I mean, and I've never lost it.
Right.
I mean, even, I don't know. I mean, I got it in Illinois for 18, 20 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And hadn't, I hunted out there for that many years and then guided for a good many of them. Me and Noel had the, outfitting business. And I sat for I mean at least 15 years in the Illinois deer woods and watched how for a month, the whole month of November.
Right.
I'd take a whole month off, go out there and hunt and guide, and just to see the amount of bucks and the way they reacted and developing some of these products, redeveloping some of these products, because I bought the company off of Jason and Rob.
Right.
And added some things to it, you know what I mean? And
yeah, and we talked to those guys about that when we sat down with Rob Chalinsky and did a podcast with Rob. He had talked about how, that him and Jason started out, and then that moved on to you, and then he went his direction with Total Archery Challenge.
Yeah.
And all that. So yeah, you've been improving on the product since you've
yeah, I have, and I've done things a little bit different, but it just like Rome's not built in a day.
Right.
Oh.
There's so many different deer lures out there on the market. I think mine's the best. I mean, last year we came out with ropes. Now look.
Yeah.
I mean, now look. I
do.
I'm not going to say I'm the OG, but
I can tell you
there wasn't any on the market last year.
That the Undertaker, the dirt, you were
here.
the first one I ever seen that had that.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
there's
it,
another one, but I think they fell by the wayside. I mean, I still see one other similar product, but it pales in comparison.
Yeah,
it pales in comparison.
And that's the thing is that, what I like about your scent compared to some of these other ones that we're mentioning, and obviously I'm not going to mention the names of them because it doesn't matter, but they are mass produced.
Yeah.
You are
I'm
one
man
show.
band. Yeah.
Like every single bottle sitting here, every bottle I got downstairs, every bottle that gets shipped out on the internet, every bottle that ends up in every shop anywhere across the country, you've personally put that bottle together.
Yes. That
was all you.
Every bit.
Yeah. And that's, that personal touch is what I think goes a long way. That mom and pop, that's the type of thing that I think you put your heart into it, so that makes it a better product to me.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't use it if it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Right.
If it didn't work, I would never. I mean, I honestly, and I mean, I'm a whitetail freak. I love it. I mean, there's nothing I would like to do more in the fall than hunt whitetail.
Right.
Now in the winter, I like to run them bird dogs and hunt the pheasants and trap.
Right.
And
which you do carry some trapping sense in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And but the whitetail's king.
Right.
Whitetail's king.
Right.
No matter what it is, in the spring, but I turkey hunt. I mean, I love it. I love it just as much as anything. But in the fall,
yeah.
I mean, it's
it's number one.
Yeah. The whitetail is the most hunted animal in the world.
Right.
I mean, in the United States, by far. But I mean, people come all over to get that whitetail buck.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean,
he's king. He's king. He's king.
That's what we go to Illinois for.
Oh, I
every
know.
year. That's why we hunt Ohio every year.
Uh-huh.
The whitetail just it could just be the greatest day of your life or the worst thing you've ever had happen to you.
They're smart. Yeah. And so any edge that you can get is definitely helpful because they're smart. They can smell you. They hear you. They see you. They're way better at being out there than you are.
Oh, yeah, because they're there.
So
and everybody wants them.
Yeah. Right.
The human is their number one competitor. I mean, their number one predator.
Right.
You might say, coyote or wolf or whatever, but depending on where you're at. But
yeah,
it's a person, and
yeah.
and they know it, and they have evolved through all these years of being the most chased game ever.
Right.
So, that's why
you can't get away from it. That's
yeah,
why.
it just ate up with it.
And if you don't, it's time to quit.
I agree with that. Yeah, if you're if you're a bow hunter or a gun hunter, and you just lose that edge to want to do it, that drive, then maybe it's time to.
I mean, how could
and a lot of people will admit to that too.
Yeah,
people are like, oh, I stopped hunting. It's like, oh, you ask them just sincerely. I was like, what used to be a big hunter and some people will just come out purely honest and say, I just lost the.
I think sometimes that drive and that gets lost because people don't have the direction of whether maybe they didn't have somebody that showed them, like Dave did, or
or even I did with my
father,
or
just having the right equipment or the right products to help you do that stuff. So
right.
But kind of along those lines, I guess I get asked all the time in the shop. Guys will come in. Early season now, before the season starts, and hey, I got this buck, and I want to see if he's there, or I'm not even sure what I have on my property. What, they're standing in front of the rack with your products on them. They're like, what should I use? What's going to help me to see, what's out there on my property? And the first thing that I go to that I think we should talk about is your Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And your Undertaker.
Yeah, Nightmare and Undertaker.
For those of you out there, your Nightmare and then your Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two products that I would recommend to anybody first. I recommend everything, but if we're talking, it's before the season, we're talking June, July, August, and you want pictures of the deer on your property, those two products together are going to get you that. So let's talk about what they do and and how that was, developed. I know we're not going to get into the secrets of what it is, but
yeah, but the whitetail communicates with his nose. Okay, that's
right.
what it is.
Number one.
They smell.
Right.
So they'll make scrapes and they'll keep scrapes going pretty much all year long.
See, I think a lot of people don't know that.
They don't look like the big
right.
Volkswagen scrapes that you see in October and November. You know what I mean? But there's that one branch that hangs down over that scrape. It's licking branch, and he'll rub his orbital gland on it, and that's just right there under his eye, and he'll lick it, and he'll leave his mark.
Yeah.
So, and then them bucks are in bachelor groups in this early time of the year. So, if one does it, the other one does. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you let your dogs out, your dog goes and takes a pee in the yard. The other one runs right over there and takes a pee right beside him.
That's true.
That's
what it is.
It's animal's an animal. That's what it is.
Right.
So, that's what the Nightmare is. That's gland lure. Right under the deer's eye, and he licks and he rubs his eye on there, and he deposits that scent.
That scent in itself, right there. I've seen deer single file hit scrape one after another after
They'll
another.
They'll just work the line,
yeah,
and that's
do.
what I mean. Like,
I keep that in my hunting pack all the time. If I have nothing else on me when when we're talking about scent, Nightmare's always in my pack.
Well, that's the thing about the Undertaker too, because you can. Once you put it out there, you're good.
Right.
I mean, you don't got to freshen it up. I mean, I do because I make it. But
right.
You don't absolutely have to. I mean, I had guys send me a picture. They go to pull their stand in March and say, the scrape that I put in October is still getting worked. It's bare. All the leaves flew out. And you know how winter is with all the wind and everything. Mm-hmm. No, it's still fresh.
Right.
It's just still being worked.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep it going. And I think another thing is I used to be a guy, and I can honestly say that I think I'm wrong now. The rut was always the rut. I always thought the rut was from the last week of October till the 18th of November. But I don't think that anymore. Because judging by the size of the fawns and, the gestation period of a deer is 204 days or something like that.
Right.
202, 204 days, something like that. But the way been seeing the fawns here lately, it's sporadic. Like some that I figure out the age and all that, I say that deer was born 1st of April. If you count back the days, that means they were bred like October 10th. So then you see these tiny little guys in June. So they weren't bred until, if you count the days back, Christmas time, New Year's.
Right. So
So that
what we would
it's-
call that second rut.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but I just think it's something happened. I don't know what it is. I think in my area it was the EHD stuff. Might have just threw there.
I know
The timing's off.
Something's
Because
the
I
timing off.
mean, I've hunted southwestern Pennsylvania, north central West Virginia, my entire life. I'm be 49 years old next week or next month, and the rut was always the rut, no matter what, no matter the temperature, no matter what. It was from Halloween to the 18th of November. Being Veterans Day on the 11th was the best day to hunt, but it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, it's
Like
not.
I
agree.
wouldn't be afraid to use the Inferno as my super hot estrus lure. Second week of October. Now, if you got that big nanny come in there, she don't want to be chased, so she might not like it. But that buck comes through there, he's gonna come,
Yeah,
and he's gonna come hard, because there's already been one come in heat, I think.
Yeah, I
It's
think.
like, I mean,
you
I
do
don't
get
know
that
if-
early one, you get the
younger
late
guys
ones.
hitting early, and
But I think
it's
you're
longer.
right. I think
it's longer now. I think I'm gonna. I'm definitely don't think I am definitely changing my technique this year. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here this year. I got a couple nice ones that I've been watching, and I've got one in particular that I just want to hunt him. And I pick one deer how I used to when I was younger, and I pick one deer and I'm going to hunt him. So. And I'm going to change tactics up a little bit. So, I don't know. We're going to see. But I've had Nightmare and Undertaker and, the infused hemp ropes with the Nightmare.
so. That's a new product.
That
for
was
you.
I came out with that last year.
the hemp rope.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that has the
But
nightmare for.
Yeah.
So for anybody out there that wants,
It's infused.
infused,
You just-
pre-soaked, just
Yep.
tie that on,
Tie it on.
let it go, and you're good to go.
I think you have, 3 in here?
No, we had 3 in there last year.
Okay.
So I got some customer reviews and stuff. They thought they wanted them longer. So now it's like a 3-foot piece.
Okay.
So this year it's 1 piece. You can cut it
Okay.
to your length, or you can leave it long.
Right.
So I mean, we adapt to what our customers want.
right,
You know,
right.
you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
You
Everybody
know.
does,
Give them
yeah.
what they
So
want.
when they text me and say, "Oh, I wish it was longer" or whatever, so I'm like, "Okay, that's it. That's less work cutting them." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Simple as that. So it's one 3-foot piece.
When we went to Illinois last year, and I hung a hemp rope up down on the river bottom that I was hunting that first evening. We got out in the first evening to kind of get stands set before our first day hunting, and I hung that hemp rope, just scooted out a little bit of dirt with my boot, did a cap full of the Undertaker, kicked it around with my foot, kind of rubbed it in the dirt a little bit. Went home. Went back to the lodge. I had a cell cam set up on it. I had a big 10-point come in, start hitting, just licking away at that hemp rope.
Yeah, I mean it's because it's natural.
Yeah.
And it smells right, and it works. But the thing about that is, it's not going to drag. I mean, it's not going to drag a deer from 2 miles away to you. None of it. No scent does that. But it funnels it to where you want him to be to kill him. Like, he ain't going to walk in behind you. He catches the wind of that, he's going to come in front of you. And that's the goal.
Right.
That's not, like, there's no magic wand. You can't say, okay, there's a deer 2 miles away from me. There's nothing you're going to do to make him come to you. Unless you got 10 guys chasing him, on a drive, beating on pots and pans. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you take it and put it in, okay, most people ain't going to shoot more than 40 yards. Okay, so if you go 80 yards on this side, 80 yards on that side of you, and you funnel that scent and have that in between there, and in the rut, you drag the either the dead red, or the Inferno, or blind date all the way around. That makes them come to where you're at, so you get the ultimate shot. Ultimate shot. That's the name of this game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You just want to get them close enough to kill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one thing that that we do with the Inferno, and the Dead Red's one of my favorite. I love that scent.
You
that
killed
being
your Illinois buck
yeah,
2 years
I mean,
ago over it.
Dead Red is just like, man, if there's a buck in the
Now
area,
that
and
there's
he's
nothing has ever changed from that.
yeah, that
Nothing
it's
has
just
never
an
changed.
absolute killer.
Yep.
But I always, and I know Rob Wark from the Keystone Experience
Yeah.
podcast, he does the same thing I do. I'll take that scent and I'll drag from the tree I'm hunting in
Yeah.
away from me.
Yeah. Because
Versus
you want it
starting-
you want
yes.
it stronger because they'll go the wrong way.
Yeah. I don't want to. A lot of times guys they'll get a drag rope and they'll put scent on it
From
and they'll
the
drag
truck.
from their truck into where they're hunting.
They go the other way.
Yeah.
They'll
You're-
go. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
you're-
seen
you're-
it happen.
It's
before.
that you're
seen
actually
it happen.
setting yourself up for failure because the deer
The
are going to
strong-
go
the
that
strong-
other direction.
strong-
Strongest odor is closest to your truck.
I
Yeah.
never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea about
I've seen it happen.
Huh.
Think about that
I've seen
because
it happen.
because the deer are going to come across that odor. They come
Right.
across your trail if you're walking on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they smell something they like and they come across the Dead Red or the Inferno and they smell it, they're going to say, okay, which way does this smell stronger?
Right. Which would be the fresher, quote unquote, fresher
Yeah.
side.
So that's the
you
way they're gonna
start.
go.
You start at your stand
Yeah.
or at your scrape,
Yes.
and then you go this way, you go that way, you funnel them to you.
Right. Yep.
Because if you do it the
Never
other,
put that
if you
together.
Yeah.
if you do
Yeah.
it the other way, well, just did you ever rabbit hunt before?
No.
With beagles,
No.
coon hunt at night, dog, and never hunt with dogs.
He's straight
No.
deer and turkeys.
I've been straight
Okay.
deer and
So like
turkey
if
pretty much.
a rabbit dog's coming hopping through, he's down sniff, and rabbit jumps up out of the bushes and takes off. Well, that dog he jumped that rabbit because he smelled its cold trail, and then he got to where it jumped up. Then he's, and then the chase is on, and he goes the right way and follows the rabbit, brings him right back around to where he was, and you get him. That's how it works.
Time for stew.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, so
just like my bird dogs. If a pheasant was there and it ran around and went out through the cornfield and everything, she'll smell it and you'll see her. She'll get a happy tail on her tail wag, and then she'll pounce and she'll come out of that high stuff and run, check the wind, get to where, she's closer to it, and then boom, she locks point.
Yeah.
And she got him pinned in there. Now she got him pinned in there.
Right.
And then she keeps, she won't budge. Stand there, frozen,
Yeah.
like a statue. Then you walk up there, and pheasant takes off flying, and, pheasant and dumplings.
That makes perfect sense. I never just kind of
Yeah.
took that thought process on that. No one's ever talked about that I've been around, and now that you guys talk about it, it makes sense.
Yeah, there's little tricks like that
Yeah.
you just kind of learn over the years. The older you get with it and make mistakes, because we all do.
Oh, yeah.
You learn from it, and we've found out, and Rob and I've had that conversation that
They'll go
that that's
the
the way
wrong
to
way.
go, man. You start from the base of your tree or even a few feet out from it and work it out. I mean, how many times, I can't tell you how many times I've had an empty bottle of this, okay? And I always, if I have an empty bottle, leave it at the base of my tree. I've always done that.
I've done that. Yep.
And I've killed over doing that. I'll just leave the cap open and leave it lay there. And I can't tell you how many times I've had deer come in, and I got video of it, come in and put their nose on them bottles right
bottle,
under my
yeah.
tree, and they're sitting there and rubbing on it and licking it. I killed a coyote with an empty bottle of Dead Red. I put my trail out. I was deer hunting, and I had the bottle empty left. I was getting up in a stand, and I just tossed it on the ground out in front of me about 5 feet. And this coyote's coming through on a trot. And he just happened to be on the line. He didn't smell this. He just happened to be on the line of where he
Downwind.
was going to come across it. And when he ran, and he's trotting along, and when he hit this bottle, it was like he kind of passed it up and was like, ho, wait a minute, and stopped and stuck his nose right down on that empty bottle. And I had the Excalibur crossbow with me at that time, and I just leaned over and just popped him right between the ears. But that Dead Red stopped him.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely stopped that coyote.
But that's just what the goal is. You want them to get them to close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want them to smell your smell, and you want them to come to the best opportunity to harvest one.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
Yeah,
That's
so
what he's
so the Undertaker and the Nightmare, and then with the new hemp ropes. I mean, that is the scent that, for our listeners and viewers out there, if you're using trail cameras, or even if you're not, but that is the scent that's going to establish your property. It's going to establish the deer that are there.
It'll give
it's
you
going to let you know. It's going to give you intel.
an inventory of what you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it might not be, all daytime. I mean, it might be nighttime. But you'll know he's there. You're not hunting a ghost.
Right, and that's true.
You know what I mean?
And I'll tell guys that all the time that ask me. I'm like, hey, it's not a guarantee you're going to see him at 10 a.m., but he's going to show up. I said, if there is a buck on your property and you have this stuff out, I promise you he's coming.
I don't know how many pictures that I've had on my cameras.
I try to share
of them
a
just
lot.
laying.
In the scrape.
Yes.
Laying beside of a garden.
Beside it, yeah.
I have
waiting for the
Yes.
for the intruder, because that's what this sets up. So the goal is to kill the dominant deer.
Right.
For guys
Right,
that are
whatever
hardcore,
the property
yeah.
is.
And somebody says, "Well, I don't care." Yeah.
If you don't
To each their
care,
own. To each their
if
own.
you don't care,
Yeah.
this is the perfect product for you because
Because you're going to see them all.
You're going to see them. You're going to just take your pick. You're going to kill whatever you want.
You're going to see them. I mean, but that dominant deer, if it's his territory and he takes that territory over, he's going to want. I forget what the gentleman's name is, but he was a tough sell. I brought Lord down here one day, and he was a tough sell, and we talked him into it. I told him I'd give him his money back if it doesn't work. And he shot that giant when he was just going to check his camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sent me a message, sent you a video or something. That thing was
I had,
really big.
Dylan Lindsay is one of the kids that comes down here. That he's a young guy that we turned him on to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the first year he used this product, he was having bucks showing up on his property he didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
And one of them that he ended up killing, which was a beautiful deer, he had video and pictures of him laying in the scrape waiting for this intruder buck to show up.
Yeah.
Before he killed him. Yeah. So that made him a believer. He's like, this stuff's incredible.
Yeah, when you get one to lay there, and I mean,
yeah,
Sold.
yeah, I mean, I just don't know what more you would want.
Right.
It just goes,
But I mean, that could go bad too, because you bump him out of there.
yeah, it's hard to
but
get in there and
I
hunt him.
think he's going to come back.
Right. Yeah, they
mean,
do.
yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think hunters make them smarter than what they really are.
They're goats.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That sounds like I'm contradicting myself saying because the deer's a king and whitetail's a king and all that.
Well, they are.
But
We're educating them as much.
well, somewhat, yeah. But I was never one of these guys that worried about a lot of. I spray down with my stuff. I shower with the soap.
Mm-hmm.
I keep my clothes clean. I never really cared about the wind as any time I ever hunted.
Yeah.
I mean, I was guiding Illinois. I got guys coming for a week. Okay. I come back to the motel and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Did you see anything? Nah, I moved stands around. I moved my stand around today to that down the hill a little bit. Got sweaty. I didn't hunt. I was like, well, how do you know where the deer is coming? It's the rut.
Yeah,
You don't know. You don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You might have an idea, but how many times have you picked the spot where that deer's going to come out of here and I'm going to kill him? I know it. How many times have you been standing there watching that spot and just say, "Oh boy, there he is, right there."
Yep.
More times than he's come from where you thought he was going to come
Right.
from. Especially in that magical time of November that everybody loves.
Mm-hmm.
You have no clue.
Yeah, they could come from anywhere.
So I really never cared about the wind. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that.
I take my time and prepare my clothes, my body, with my stuff, and I hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
You're
with you
never
there.
going to kill one if you ain't in that stand.
Yeah, I've seen, and I'm sure you have over the years. I've seen deer especially during the rut. But I've seen them do things that you would never think. For instance, I always was, big believer in if it's super windy, the deer aren't going to move. Or if it's raining real hard, it's going to be tough to see them because they're probably going to hunker down. But I've seen firsthand in both instances, especially during the right time if there's a hot doe. They don't care.
Doesn't matter.
They're going to move. People say, I'm not hunting today because it's too windy or it's too hot. I killed the biggest deer of my life, which was over 180 inches, on a morning in a short-sleeve T-shirt when it was 74 degrees. Yeah. And guys will tell you the deer don't move whenever it's warm. It's too warm. They're going to – now, maybe to a point, but you can't kill them from the couch.
Nope.
We've said that.
Oh, yeah. That's what I said.
You got to be out there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got to be out there, and these products will – they'll help you when you're there, no doubt.
Now, this scent eliminator, since you were talking about this, I really like this. Mm-hmm. So let's take, for instance, you buy just a general scent killer, bottle off the shelf to spray yourself. One thing that I've noticed the difference between this and that stuff is you spray that on something, or you get a white residue over everything, or like on your clothes, like you'll notice, or it'll spill. This isn't.
No, you don't.
This is clean.
Yeah, it's clean.
So what do you have? What is more or less, as far as the consistency with this and what's inside this? What is that difference? Is it just mostly like an alcohol, or?
Yeah, there's an alcohol. It's an alcohol base. Mm-hmm. It has a few other ingredients in it, and it doesn't have. I honestly don't know what the other stuff has because that's all I use is this.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's worked for so many years.
Right.
Like before I owned it, I was a sales rep for them.
Okay.
So I've been using this for the last 20-some years. So I'm not really familiar with some of the other products on the market. Mm-hmm. For the price, my deal is, my stuff works. You've tried all this other stuff and it works. This works just as well, and you're getting a 16-ounce bottle for, $11. Mm-hmm. Where it's for six, it's comparable to the prices of everything else.
Right. So, the Phantom Hunter's a good scent killer spray. Not only like Ken said, where it doesn't leave that chalky residue on everything you spray it on. The other thing I like about it, especially in the early morning hunts, is I've used some other scent killers where when you spray it on you, it leaves you wet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It lays on your clothes. Whatever you spray it on is soaking wet. That, it's like a mist. And especially the spray bottle that you chose to put it in as well helps. But that stuff goes on you, and it doesn't lay wet on you.
Yeah.
It dries, and it kills odor. It absolutely. I've already had food on my hands and taken some of that, sprayed on there, rub it around. It's gone.
It's that big alcohol. It's the alcohol base.
There's an alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah.
A high. It's a high content.
Yeah.
Of alcohol in there.
Right.
And mixed with the other things make it that effective. Because everybody went through this COVID shit, and when you go into the store, you squirt that shit on your hands. Guess what? What does it smell like?
Yeah.
Because it kills it.
Yeah.
So that's what bacteria is. Bacteria is what gives off smell.
Right.
Okay. So nothing works better than that. Because look what we had to do. Yeah. Every place you went.
Yeah.
The hand sanitizer shit. That's what it is. That's why it works.
Oh, we sell a ton of that as well.
Yeah.
Sell
that's why it
so
works.
much of that.
Yeah.
And
but you got to have the other stuff in there so you don't get, flaky skin or dry skin. Because if I work at a hospital, okay, so you keep putting that stuff on your hands because you have to, and every time you turn, you get dry from the sanitizer stuff.
Right.
This has ingredients in there that keeps that from happening. Moisturizers,
right,
and other things, but no smell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it kills
it works as well as So the Phantom body wash, another thing. To go along with that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know this or not, Ken, but even though it's a body wash, you can also wash your clothes in this too.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean, that's pretty
it's
much
You
Yeah.
tell Megan, you sell that in a 5-gallon bottle? Fill a bottle.
Yeah, we can do that.
I actually start washing my hunting clothes.
In the body wash.
What should I say? The clothes that I wear. And like now, I'll start using that stuff to wash my clothes in September here and that because
I got so much of it.
you probably use that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
I don't never not use it.
When we use the scent free all year long.
Do you?
I don't remember the exact name of it. The
Carefree or something.
Carefree
yeah.
or something like that. Unscented body wash. Told Megan, I was like, we ain't using that foo-foo smelling stuff. I was like, because my clothes washer or our clothes washer isn't. I don't want it smelling like that come August,
come hunt
September.
season.
So
Yeah.
we just use it
Just
all year
run
round.
a cycle of hot water with a
That's
cap
good
full
to
of
know.
that.
That's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, you can use that stuff.
Or
in
just
it. It works great.
just don't buy it at the don't buy regular shampoo at the store. Just buy it from Creek Archery.
Yeah, that's it.
They have plenty of it, plenty of
Oh,
these
yeah,
bottles
we just
down there.
we just got restocked today on
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Phantom lineup between the spray and the body wash / clothing wash, it's good stuff. It lathers up real well.
It don't leave you dry. It
Yeah,
doesn't leave that sticky feeling like
Yeah.
some of the other ones do.
It doesn't feel like you have a lotion on you when you get out of the
and
shower.
it's truly odorless. I mean, that's the thing. Like so I don't know if you noticed, but some of these scent killer sprays, you open them bottles and smell them. You can smell something there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 100% odorless, but this stuff here,
It's
clean. It's
really
like,
good.
It's medical grade. Like
It's developed.
Odorless.
It's developed extremely well.
yeah,
You count the ingredients on back. There's 9 ingredients in this bottle.
yeah.
You get a bottle off the shelf of a body wash for any the other brands for hunting.
Yeah.
The whole back label is packed.
You
with stuff.
have to have all that
Yeah,
on there.
but this is what
because
this
you
is
put
what
it
you
on
need.
your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it keeps it simple.
Yeah.
It's what's in there is what's needed. And like you said, I didn't know that you could actually use this in a clothes washer. So that's good to know.
Yeah,
You're
it's good.
learning. Yeah, we're taking you to school.
Dude,
today.
I didn't.
Cat-
So I didn't.
We're
like,
taking you to school today. I mean, the two old men are taking you to school.
Absolutely.
when I first started coming down here and met Megan, I didn't know about Apparition. I saw it on buddies' trucks, my other buddies that have hunted, and then coming down here, talking with you, taking this stuff. The first time I used this was going out to Illinois 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had the Inferno, and I set a camera up on it too, and I was getting pictures of deer every night. So like, to me, and with my past experience, I've never really had luck with lures and scents. I just kind of just let it go by the wayside, didn't really use it. And then coming down here, talking with you, meeting Megan, being down here more often, starting the podcast and hunting with you, you've turned me back into this Apparition scent stuff. And it's amazing. And then the stories you hear, you've got Mike shooting that big buck last year in Ohio over this.
Yes.
Guys weren't seeing them. How many guys were hunting it?
And that's the thing is being around here at the shop, you see the customer base that comes in that praises it because it works. If it didn't,
They'd be like, Chris, why don't you get somebody else in here?
Why are you selling
this
it?
stuff is
And
junk.
and me being the type of person I am, I want to be honest with everybody.
Oh,
I try.
absolutely.
And so when I tell them I use this stuff, you want to use this stuff, it's going to help you. It does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it absolutely does. And that's why I won't carry something else, and I don't want to be that guy that says, well, you could use this or try this one over here because that one might work for you. No.
Right.
This is going to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a tool, just like your bow, just like, your grunt tube, just like your decoys, anything.
Oh, I use them all.
Yes.
Like one of the most
This
effective.
is just another tool
Yeah.
to help you be successful.
One of the most effective techniques that I've found with the Undertaker Nightmare and Dead Red or Inferno, you know what I mean? I always hit in that pre-rut, October, 1st of November, I squirt Dead Red in that scrape every time I hunt or drag it in. But like sometimes you just can't get to a spot where you think is the best. Like there was a picked bean field in Illinois one year, and I saw a buck rub on a tree about this size, and this is before any kind of tree koi or any of that stuff. And it had this big shiny buck rub. I was like, tell my brother, I'm like, hey, Brian. I said, I bet if I drill a hole in that field, stick that under there, put a scrape underneath that in the field. I said, I bet that deer comes out. If it it'll walk right to it.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny.
And I mean, I did that before. Way before.
You said the tree koi. That was that plastic tree.
It was yeah.
Hey, listen, I bought one of them.
It works.
It did, but I was so pissed off when I bought it because I looked at the picture on the box and there was limbs and it had leaves.
You got to cut
this.
them and put them on yourself.
I didn't know that. I was so mad because I opened this box and it's a plastic limb.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where the hell's
got
all my
ripped
leaves
off.
and shit at? Where are they at?
So, like, the best way to put it in a food plot is you get that tree and you cut him off. Okay? Cut him off. And if it doesn't have a buck rub on it, put one on there. So then you notch the bottom. Just put a notch. Notch it on the other side. Get some aircraft cable, wrap that around and crimp it. And get the drivers that drive in the stakes for trapping.
Mm-hmm.
Drive that, dig a hole, put that in there, and drive them stakes in on both sides and pull it tight. Like you see somebody making their tree go straight. They have the tree ones, but the trapping ones are they're cheaper. And then you pound it down in there. Make sure your licking branch is there. Put a scrape on each corner of that thing, and they'll try to tear it out. They'll rub on it. Try to tear it out. It'll come in the middle of that field, and you're off the edge. Sometimes, I mean, how are you going to shoot an archery tackle 77 yards in the middle of a field? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're there on the edge. You stick out 40, 50 yards, 30, 40 yards, and you bring him in range. And he sees it, and they come. I mean, they
absolutely will.
They do every time.
Yeah, you can create scrapes like that
in
the
middle of a field.
Yeah.
My brother shot it. We were laughing, making fun of somebody, and he looks up and goes, "Oh, there's a giant right there." It was standing in the field. How it even got in there because we were messing around. We always had a blind tucked in. I mean, tucked in. To like an autumn, and when it rained or the wind in Illinois is sometimes unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
So we always had a weather stand, and it was usually with one of those or the Dave Smith decoy.
Yeah,
so that works too. If
I
you
have
pull
one of them.
If you pull one of his rack off, one of his horns off, make him. I've seen that half rack.
That's what I do.
And then squirt the dead red on there. I've even used doe before. Only thing about doing a doe decoy and putting like a maxi pad with the Inferno on the back end of her, that'd work. But the little ones will come in there and knock it down and try to breed it and whatever.
Right.
Then you got a mess.
Yeah.
Because then you
get
gotta
down
go.
and fix it.
Yeah, you gotta fix it.
Yeah.
Or if a big nanny comes out, she'll blow out her nose at it.
Yeah, I found that setting my Dave Smith decoy out in the field, or usually I put it, say 25 yards off a field edge. Typically, if I'm going to hunt with that thing, I usually don't use it in the deep timber because I don't.
No.
I've spooked deer doing that.
Yeah.
But I always put it out as a half rack because what I've found out as a half rack is the rack is usually big enough to draw in the bigger bucks, but it's small enough to draw in the smaller bucks.
Yeah.
And
you don't want a little one standing out there blowing out his nose because the decoys. Because I've seen it go both ways.
Right.
Decoy is tricky.
Yeah, I decoy usually just during the rut. The does. The other thing is that I've noticed too, with a buck decoy, the does see it, bucks travel. They don't.
Them does out there. She don't want chased.
Right. So they'll stay away from the decoy.
Mm-hmm.
The little bucks will come in and investigate it. But because it's bigger than them, they just kind of write it off and they'll walk away from it. But then again, the bigger bucks will come into it. They'll get aggressive. So I think that half rack is the perfect scenario.
That's the way to go. Mm-hmm. But that tree is not going to spook nothing.
No, the tree.
So
won't
that's
spook
why
anything.
I think that's more effective with the lure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than that decoy, because there's so many variables with the decoy. Like, it could work, and you could get the biggest bucket in the state to come out there and just ram that thing, and if you're not paying
And
attention,
it makes for some
knock it-
awesome footage.
Oh yeah, it does. But then you could have that nanny come out here, and he come out here, see her, she starts blowing out her nose and runs in the woods, and then he goes after it. I mean, it's just it's timing.
Right.
But with that tree, they're just gonna. I just think it's safer and it's as effective.
Right. If you can do it. I mean, if you have for instance, we're not going to go put a tree trunk in the middle of one of the cornfields that, they're farming. Unless you can, you're going to take it back down.
Oh yeah,
You can't.
it come. Oh, you with that the dirt the way it's
Yeah, it's
loosened
just
from
gonna-
them picking.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's standing, obviously you can't do that. But you hunt the edge anyhow with that standing corn. That's the best place to hunt.
Right.
People say, "Oh no, the corn's still standing." Well, that's perfect.
I
Yeah.
just pictured a guy carrying like a 10-foot tall sapling just through the middle of a
It works,
cornfield.
man. I'm telling you.
No, you don't got to carry it.
You-
Pretty much, if you're out in the woods, there's going to be one right there.
Yeah.
Cut it off and put it in.
It was just a
Yeah.
funny image I just pictured in my head of someone just carrying a tree through the woods.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
But
plenty,
hey,
plenty
yeah.
of them there, but
You
it
do
does
what you
work.
do. Yeah.
It's definitely something that works. So, well, let's talk early season a little bit. Your go-to scent that you have for early season is going to be your nosy whitetail.
Yeah.
Now,
As a urine-based lure, I mean, I use the Undertaker Night Bear all
right?
all
Well,
year.
yeah.
But
talking-
I mean,
yeah,
as
we
you know,
that's
early
the straight
season
lure.
curiosity, just to keep them, because they're still sometimes in bachelor groups, and sometimes you want to shoot a doe on the first day, and you just sprinkle, you know what I mean? Just put it around your stand.
Right. So,
you know.
so especially for that Pennsylvania hunter that's just looking to shoot a doe or
On the first day,
the nosy's.
that's
it's
the
gonna
thing.
bring 'em.
They're gonna come.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just smell it. And they're curious, and curiosity killed a cat, and that's
Absolutely.
pretty much. Hey, I got guys that just, I don't know why. It seems like guys in the South, they just love it, and they use it all year long, even in a rut and everything else. But yeah, it seems like from Maryland down they're nosy people. I mean,
Right.
and they've been for years.
Hmm.
But I like it. Heck, my dad, first year he just took up bow hunting when he's like 60. And he was like, they just come out with the Luminoc and all that. And I had 2 scrapes of nosy around the stands. And he's just shooting and missing them. He's like, he looks over at me and goes, hey. He goes, it looks like a birthday cake out here. I said, what?
all the lighted
With all the
knocks.
Luminox
All
stuck in the
the
ground.
sticking in the ground. He goes, I only got 1 arrow left. And I got this all on film. I'm like, well, you got to make sure you don't miss.
Yeah.
I said, because this is the last arrow. I said, here comes a big doe right here. She's going to come right to where the other one. I said, not the second pin this time. First pin, Dad. He's like, okay. He goes, it does look like a birthday cake. I said, shoot that deer. And he got it.
Yeah.
He shot and got her, and she
Oh,
piled
that's
up the
funny.
hill. But he's like, not bad for 68. And I was like, started regular bow hunting 60,
I have.
He said that was funny when he said, yeah, it looks like
hilarious.
It looks like a birthday cake in this woods.
I have a guy I hunted with years ago back. I ain't seen him since he's retired, but he was hunting one evening in a cut cornfield during the rut, and he's up in his stand, and he's got a buck that he wanted to shoot chasing a doe. He missed him 5 times while this chasing his doe around this cornfield and into the timber and back out. Gets down out of his stand, collects his 5 arrows, gets back up in the stand, and then shoots at him again and finally gets him.
Gee.
I think if I missed 5 times, I'd have left.
I think I would have too. My bow might have been down on the
I
ground.
asked him. I said 5. I said, how the hell did you miss 5 times? He said he wouldn't stop. He just was chasing the does, and I shot over him, and I was all excited. And
Carnival game.
I tell you, I missed the biggest buck I've ever shot at.
yeah, I mean we've all had.
I
those, yeah.
have. I mean, he was chasing a doe. He came out. I looked down, and this thing was enormous. Big, non-typical Illinois giant with everything you could imagine. She's the biggest buck I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He comes. I mean, he's right there, 20 yards. She's coming running right to me. he's coming up behind her. He turns broadside. I would go like this, pull back my bow, and went like that to, just to put my finger on the release, and it fired. Oh no, what just happened?
Yeah.
My bow just went off. I was like, oh shit, and I reached back and get another arrow because I never liked to quiver on my bow.
Me neither.
I don't do that either.
So I get it. I'm looking. She comes up and runs behind me. He's bird dogging her right there. He's 10 yards. I mean, massive. Just points everywhere.
Mhm.
I'm like, pull back like this. Fires another. Here I had a old Scott release that had the Allen head in by the trigger that adjusts. Well, that Allen head backed out, that set screw.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't latch. And when I'd went like this, because I always kept my finger in behind there.
Right.
And when I went to go down on the bow and put my finger on the trigger, it would fire.
So it almost, that screw coming loose lightened that tension so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
It fired.
It was ready to go off.
So I had
Happens at the worst time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I get back to the truck. Every archer has Allen wrenches back then. 'Cause that's how you had to move your sights.
Yeah.
They were brass with a little.
The little brass washer on the.
Showing your age again, buddy,
I know.
with the old
So-
pins.
Tighten that thing up. Dead bull. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's what happens. So I mean, that's why we make this stuff, to make them close enough where that doesn't happen and help you.
Calm. Yeah. Get their mind
That's
off of. Yeah.
Yeah. So the nosies, that's the early season stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, Dead Red.
Oh yeah, Dead Red's been around for since the beginning. There's never been a change to it. It's just totally effective. I mean, it's a territorial lure that and it's not dominant buck urine.
Right.
It's 2.5-year-old and younger.
Mhm.
So I mean, it won't scare that Pennsylvania 125-inch deer away.
That's a key.
Okay, and it won't not be aggressive enough for that 180-inch Illinois deer.
Right.
So that's a perfect combination, because in southwestern Pennsylvania, where we live, the age class of deer are not what it is in Illinois, Kansas, Iowa. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of those places, the way their land is, and like Ohio and Illinois and Indiana, there's no. It's either straight ball cartridge or, what I mean? There's no rifle. No,
Right.
No
Right.
high-powered rifle.
Right. Yeah.
That makes it enormous.
It
Oh,
absolutely
it's a huge
does.
difference.
A difference with the caliber of deer,
Yeah.
because it limits your range.
Yeah.
But, I mean, not many guys shoot, long-range stuff in Pennsylvania, but most of the, you got 3 shots with that,
well, yeah, that.
I mean,
we got a
there's
lot.
all kinds of
We have a
different-
lot more hunters in our state than some of these other states have. And,
Right.
But
I mean, the quality. I mean, I'm not complaining about the quality, because there is some high quality whitetails in the Keystone State.
Oh, yeah,
there
no doubt.
There definitely
No doubt.
is.
Yeah.
But it's not as
it's not the Midwest.
No.
That's-
No.
let's-
the
let's
Midwest
be
is
honest.
king, and it's been king for
right.
a long time.
Right. So the nosy works well in both situations, because if subordinate deer, younger bucks here, it's not going to scare them, and if that's what you're looking to kill is a small basket rack 6, 7, 8 pointer, it's going to get it done for you.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
But also,
he's-
where this shines for me is I feel like when I do use this, and I've killed my biggest bucks that I've ever killed over Dead Red, I feel like they smell this, and it's like a teenage kid trying to take somebody's woman.
Spring break.
And they're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah.
dude,
This ain't
what are you
happening.
doing? This is not going to happen.
I mean, and then that's the way to explain it, because that's exactly what happens. I mean, it bristles their fur. I
Yeah.
mean, it bristles their fur, straight up.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you want.
right.
I mean, if it bristles their fur. I mean,
And that's what's in the Undertaker that makes it so successful, is the Dead Red.
And the process.
Yeah.
The process.
Sure.
I mean, the process to get it right is the key on that product.
Right.
But
I'm saying if a buck comes in, he's going to smell dead red in the Undertaker.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
If he tries to urinate and take possession of that scrape, he's just making this scent. He's going to make this stronger as well.
Well, it makes the whole set stronger. Like,
Yeah.
I call it a set just like a trapping set. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That scrape is my set. That's where I want to kill my deer. That's where I want him to step. I want him to step, left, right of that, scrape, lick that licking branch and the whole 9 yards. So that's the set. So, and I'll have 2 of them. One to my most comfortable, just depending on the tree. Like, if I'm sitting here, I want it to be here. I'll do this one because I can shoot either left or right-handed. Mm-hmm. So I do both with the crossbow since that's what I use now since my shoulders. But it just works. I mean, and the process is it's time consuming, but it just doesn't work. Like when we first did, they, if you remember, it had the little desiccant in it.
Yeah,
we don't have that anymore.
Right.
Formula's changed.
Right.
It will never go bad.
Right.
You could have that in your truck in 100 degrees all summer long.
Might not smell. You could smell it.
Oh, yeah, you can smell it. You can smell it. But it's not going to break down. It's not going to go bad. It's formulated to just absolutely work. And it'll stay strong. I say guarantee for 3 months, but it's longer than that.
And we're talking what? The Undertaker and Nightmare.
Undertaker and Nightmare do not go bad. Only thing you'd ever have to do with the Nightmare is shake it.
Right.
Shake the bottle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
it won't break down.
Right.
Now the urine products do.
Right, and that's what
that's the thing.
that it's important, to tell our viewers and listeners that, when it comes to the Undertaker, the Nightmare, we let them know, hey, when you buy this, if you don't use it all, you can use it next year.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to throw it away. Those 2 products you can use next year.
Yeah.
Now, the urine, I don't recommend it. I'm not saying you couldn't, but at Creek Archery, we get this fresh from you every single year.
And that's what makes the difference.
Right.
Like, okay, when you look at it, this is how you could tell with any kind of product, the urine-based lures on the market anywhere. If you look in that bottle and it's yellow, and it's good. If it's brown, if it's black, it's no good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not going to work, but it's not nearly as effective as the yellow.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what separates us from everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's guaranteed it's fresh stuff.
Yeah, or I'll give you your money back. It's yellow.
Right.
If you buy a bottle and it's black, I guarantee you, all those bottles that are in this shop right now that I just brought and had brought from last week, there's not one that's not yellow.
Yeah.
There's not. And they won't turn yellow. Until, it takes time.
You start introducing air to it.
Air.
So that's why, with me, I will tell everybody, if you open this.
Then squeeze.
Squeeze this bottle. And I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I'm going to open it so you're going to smell it.
Don't squeeze.
But right now I'm not squeezing it. But if you take that cap off, okay.
It's filled to the top.
You can see it's filled to the top. Mm-hmm. Now, before I put this back on, I'm just going to squeeze it a little bit. You can see that level raising. Cap it back off. And then when I let go, it's not sucking air in.
Yeah.
So I always tell everybody, all my customers, that if you're going to open this and put some on a drag rag, whatever it is, before you just put the cap on and throw it back in your pack, squeeze the bottle, raise the level of the urine that's inside of there, and then cap it so it's not sucking in air. Because the longer you can keep the air out of the bottle,
the better it's
going to be, the longer it's going to stay fresh.
Yeah.
I've, in the past, there's been times where I've even, I'll go to Walmart pharmacy or, CVS or anything and get them little syringes that,
for diabetes.
Yeah, for that or like for giving kids medicine or whatever.
Yeah.
and take and fill those syringes up with the urine product, and then just stick them in a Ziploc baggie.
Yeah, and squirt it out.
And then whenever I go, if I just want 3 syringes, I take 3 syringes. I go out, squirt them out, and I'm done. And the rest of this is still back untouched.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean,
So-
that'll work.
Makes sense too.
Yeah, so I've done that in the
There's
past.
tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of the fullness of the bottles,
Yeah.
my first experience with Inferno was in the shop.
Yeah.
Oh, that was with
You
Adam.
didn't-
I got to tell this story,
Flip the top up and
dude.
get
So
a face full of it.
I'm
did
down
you?
here with my buddy Adam, and we're looking. I flip the top, and I'm smelling. I'm like, man, this is potent shit. Go over to Adam. I said, hey, smell this. Well, this is a full bottle. There's no space here in your
it's a
brand
full
new
bottle.
bottles.
You
You are
get 4-ounce
getting
bottle. You're getting 4 plus ounces.
You're getting to the brim. So I'm not aware, not expecting that. I'm thinking we've got a little space in here. I go up to my buddy Adam. I said, "Here, take a look at this." So I did. You know how when you get someone to smell something in a bottle, you kind of give it a little puff, a little squeeze. So I do that. I put it right up to his nose, and I give that bottle a little squeeze. And wouldn't you know it, it went right all over his mustache.
Oh my!
He beelined. The look he gave me looked like he wanted to punch me the whole way out to the driveway, out to the parking lot.
He loaded them up with Inferno.
He goes
I
in the
had a
bathroom.
kid do
He's
that.
rinsing it off. So I now call that Adam's mustache bomb.
Oh, man. Adam got a face full of that.
I had another young kid come down and bought some of that stuff, took it home, opened it in the living room of his house, and dropped it. His mother had told she wanted to kill him. Absolutely want to kill him because you're not getting it out. I don't care what you do.
Well, I had a kid come to one of the trade shows I was doing, and he did one of these numbers. He flipped the top open and squeezed the smell, and
Just like I did to Adam.
yeah, I mean, he got a mouthful of it. And then he's like gagging, and his mom was yelling at him. I told you not to touch anything. What's the matter?
When I did that to Adam, my heart fell into my stomach because I knew what I did. It was, dude, I was apologizing the whole way.
I don't know. I tell
I
you
felt
what.
so bad.
I've never had
Man,
it.
I liked. I mean, maybe I'm weird.
I
but
like the smell of it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I do too. Like when I smell this, like man, I want to grab my bow and go hunt.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
I had guys ask me, I forget where it was from, could I make air fresheners that smell like this to
What?
put in their truck? They love the smell. I'm like, I ain't gonna sell that.
They know what's gonna accept you. That's
Who-
like
who the
guys with the
hell would
Hoppies, the Hoppies 99, the gun cleaner, the
That-
bore
yeah.
cleaner. The guys want that as an air freshener.
You know what I was thinking? You might be able to start another business along those lines
I need another
instead of-
business, Chris. I really do.
How about instead of creating air fresheners, you just put lockers in the building where you put this stuff together and let people store their hunting clothes in there
That's
and
an
charge
idea.
them just for storage.
Well, like I do antique. I redo some antique furniture. Well, this guy that I work with, he bought a bedroom suit that I'd redone. Well, the next day, we loaded it and carried it in his house. He paid me and everything and got it. And he was like, DB, you got to come get this. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I had some girl come to my house and she said it smells like deer piss in here. I'm like, well, that's a keeper. I said, because she hunts.
she knows
know
what
what
she's
I
smelling.
And he's like, I can't get it out. And I can't have this in my house. I said, well, you never noticed well, we got it out of your building. And I'm like, oh, jeez.
It's
So I go up there from the dust, I guess, but I wiped it off and everything. So I got one of those. It's like a thing that you clean them breathing CPAP machines. It puts that ozone shit out of there. Well, I bought one of those things and I have it for my hunting clothes.
Yeah.
And I made my own
box. Yeah,
box up.
Yeah.
So I take that thing out and put it in his bedroom, and it cleared it out.
Yeah.
So he kept it because I didn't want to unload that and bring all that back home. And
Right.
And I was like, you got to keep going out with that girl because she hunts. And all that stuff.
Yeah, that's
Don't get
the
rid
key
of her.
there. She's a hunter.
Yeah.
She knows what a good urine smells like.
Well, that was like when I had this this season I had realized that the cap was loose on this, and I had this dirt through my backpack. And I was like, I mean, that's a good thing, but you take it into the house, I was like,
Oh yeah.
I got half the bottle of Undertaker in the bottom of my backpack.
Oh, when Dave brings stock down here, and you can smell it.
Oh, yeah.
The ladies at the post office go, "Oh no, here comes the stinky guy again." I'll tell you, this is an absolute hilarious story. Okay, so I was at a shop and I left, and my uncle called me on the phone and he was upset about some things, and I was like trying to pay attention to help him with what he had going on. And I said, well, hold on, I'm on the phone driving a truck. Drive through a place that is 25. Get a blue light special. I'm like, I was like, Uncle Dick, I'll call you back. I said, I just got pulled over by the cops. I go. So this is hunting and trapping season. So my truck smells like,
Oh, yeah.
it stinks. Guy comes up, license, registration, proof of insurance. I hand it to him. He gets about to the back tire on the bed of the truck, turns around. He goes, I'm going to need you to step out of that truck. I said, for what? He said, I'm telling you, I need you to step out of the truck immediately. I'm like, okay. I get out of the truck. He said, put your hands behind your back. Slams me up against the truck and puts the handcuffs on me. I'm like, okay. What's this all about? He goes, we could do this the easy way or we could do it the hard way. I'm like, okay. What we do here? Going 35 and a 25? I said, what's this? He goes, somebody smoking weed in that truck. I said, ain't nobody ever smoked weed in that truck. He goes, where's the weed? We'll tear this truck apart. I'm like, what? Well, it was starting to rain, so I put my trapping basket in the truck. Which, trapping water smells like skunk. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's what weed smells like. I don't know. I've never been around it in my entire life. Mm-hmm. So they're tearing my truck off. He's like, he asked me, he goes, is there anything in here I should know about? I'm like, well, there's a 22 pistol in behind the driver's seat. There's a Kimber 1911 Pro Carry 2 ready to rock and roll on it in the glove box. And I said there's a 20 and a 12 gauge folded up in behind the seat because I got pheasant hunts. But other than that, there's nothing else in here. So they start taking the stuff out of my truck. So I said to him, hey, man, don't you got a dog or something? There's no weed in the truck. There's no drugs in that truck. I've never done anything like that in my entire life and never will. I'm ripe old age of 48 years old. You know what I mean? I'm never going to do it. I just never have. I was never into that stuff. Whatever. And they said, no, we don't have. I said, well, the sheriff's department has a dog. I said, call my friend. Well, the guy I work with, his name's Ed, and his son was a sheriff's deputy. I said, well, call Ed. He goes, oh, you know Ed? I'm like, yeah. So I'm sitting on the tailgate of my truck in handcuffs with all my stuff on the floor, on the ground right there. He calls Ed's boy, and Ed's boy goes, Dave doesn't do anything like that. It's his Deerlure trapping stuff. He makes Deerlure trapping stuff. He got a big stickers on his truck. And that guy comes back, takes the handcuffs off. He goes, oh, sorry. He goes, since you know Ed, we're not even going to give you a ticket. But I had to pick all my stuff up, put it all back in the truck. Yeah. From Deerlure. Mm-hmm. Was actually from the trapping lure.
Yeah.
I was
it smells like skunk.
I was scared to death. I didn't know what. When he was a little guy, too, and he slammed me up against the truck, and I'm like,
what the hell did I do?
No. I thought, I can't believe that I'm allowing that guy to do that to me. You know what I mean? So that's like, yeah, you're shoving me. You just shoved me really hard, buddy. And I'm like, don't take kindly to that. But yeah, it was crazy.
Never would have thought.
I never thought. I never knew. And then
there you go. Don't ride around with trapping lure in your vehicle.
Trapping lure, deer lure in the back of your truck. I don't think
think you're a pothead.
I guess. I guess that's prominent in that neighborhood that I was driving through.
That's more and more prominent every day.
I guess.
Oh, yeah.
You walk down through the city, and it's like, whoa.
I don't go to cities.
I'm down there. I go down there for work. You get that one car that drives by. It's like, holy cow! How are they driving
I honestly
right now?
would not know. I mean, maybe I'm just lived a sheltered life, but none of my friends were ever into that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now them boys drink a lot of beers. I'll tell you that. But they don't do none of that. None of my friends have ever done it.